lot of speed on the corners. They've got a lot of speed with their running game, and they can really cover a lot of ground.
There's no doubt about it. We're in for 4 full quarters of exciting state championship high school football. We have 20 seconds in this contest, and the Waxahachie Indians appear to be headed for the Class 4A State High School Football Championship.
'92 season was pretty special. We came into the season with high expectations because the previous 2 years we got knocked out in the quarterfinals of the season. So we came into the year very positive, very confident, focused in on like the possibility of winning it. The 2 previous years that we were in the playoffs, we were so close. My sophomore year in '90, we ran against a team that was really good. We were confident, but we knew like, okay, that team was really good. We tipped our hat to them. But '91, like the team was really close. Like off the field, we hung out together and all that stuff. But when it came to '92, I think it was all business.
We wanted to be the best team that took the field in the state of Texas week in and week out. And we knew that it started in the off season, those couple of seasons before. And we knew by some of our senior years that it was going to be a special group.
When we were sophomores and juniors, we could always say, hey, we got next year. We always got next year. Well, our senior year, we didn't have it next year.
We laid it all out there for each other.
When sports writers across the state predicted that this would be a close football game, they were exactly on the money.
I knew we had a talented team and guys were busting their butt every week, but it was always that, what do we got to do this week to get to next? It was never, what do we got to do this week to get to the state championship?
These guys were very unique. Sammy, very elusive, great running back, probably bench pressed 200 pounds. I mean, not a muscle man, just a great elusive back. LeJon Jefferson, on the other hand, was, strong, fast, hurdler, great athlete. People like Monte Rager playing tight end and defensive tackle. Those guys, a career in the NFL. There's so many. Lamont Moore, the exception at the quarterback position, could run the ball, could throw the ball, very accurate in everything he did, and he made great decisions with those big guys up front. We called them the big old good O's, and they would go get you. That's just the way the team played. I mean, John Dollar split in, played free safety. My son Creighton played split in too. They catch the ball, they did their job, they blocked, they did what they were asked to do. I had a great coaching staff, just amazing group of young men, young then, not so young now. Thomas Brooks, being just a wonderful defensive coordinator, did a great job of coordinating the defense and also coaching the technique of the defensive line. I've never seen a better one, and there probably hadn't been one come through Texas. And Danny Love at linebackers, Danny Love at special teams. He always had a little niche. He always had a fake punt up his leg or something. Those guys, David Yao coaching defensive ends, it was fun. Ricky Don Sargent in the secondary, excellent coach, excellent man. He's proven it as a head coach since then. And of course, David Ryan working with our wide receivers and people, and Tony Velastro with our backfield, and Charlie and I up front.
Coach Phillips, very intelligent man, very football intelligent, but he also knew how to surround himself with intelligent coaches. I mean, it was a group effort. He was just the mastermind of putting all the coaches together and getting the right guys in the right position.
When he stepped into a room, like all eyes were on him. We stood to attention. It was almost like you related to a drill sergeant, basically. But you could talk to him in his office and have conversation with him about life and stuff. But on the field, you knew when you stepped between those lines that, hey, it's about business. We're here to work. There's no playtime. Practices were intense. Conditioning was intense. I mean, the weight room was intense. I mean, that's just what he demanded. I think all the guys fell in line, knowing that was his expectations.
Every Saturday morning always was horrible. I hated it.
We would watch the film, lift weights, and then we would go out and do conditioning.
I was tired, I was sore. I'd been cramping my legs all night just from exhaustion.
We ran 40-yard sprints, And we ran them on Saturday morning after doing speed weights to get the soreness out of them. And then we ran them for conditioning and get the soreness out. And we started it at the beginning of the year. I said, how many weeks is it to the state championship?
And of course, the first time, none of us really knew because we only got to the 14th week. He'd go, okay, guys, it's 16. So we're going to do 16 40-yard sprints. Everybody's like, excuse me?
The next week we go 15, 14.
Next week we'd win again, and all of a sudden we'd get that same speech.
How many games to the state championship?
I'll tell you what the sweetest was. What are we doing next week? Play for a state championship, and we did one sprint, and people were going nuts. So.
Hello, everybody. I'm Cliff Brown, and we're delighted to be here in the Astrodome for this Class 4A State High School football.
Walked into the Astrodome. It was, I mean, I'd never seen a game there from the stands, let alone play the game on the field. So I was in awe. This is truly awesome.
We got there, you know, walked around and we saw it. It was like, man, this is cool.
We get down there and it's December 19th. You'd think it's cold, and it's not. It's humid down there. I remember seeing Corey Pointer, you know, walking around just getting in his zone. We all had our different things getting in our zone, and we carried that down to the Astrodome. And when it was time to go, it was time to go.
It was all inspiring, but you know what? It was the next game, and it was the final game.
You know, the Waxahachie Indians have yet to taste defeat, and some say this is the very best of a 3-year program that has seen them in the quarterfinals, and now here they are at the very pinnacle.
To be that close, 15-0, all the way to this championship game means that you go into the playoffs, you hadn't lost a game, and you kind of think, man, that doesn't leave any room for error. So we knew if we were going to be state champs, we were going to have to be 16-0 state champs.
My thoughts going into that game was the Giants going to fall. We were going to take care of that team. I wasn't worried about that. They had some good athletes on that team, no doubt about it. But, you know, the new team had come into town.
Even though they were the defending champs, we felt like, hey, that they're going to play to our level, and that they really didn't have nothing to match us if we played our type of brand of football.
When you hire Thomas Brooks had never not been in the playoffs as a coach. As a player, he won a state championship at Hebert. And as a coach, he had won 2 state championships at West Orange Stark. He coached in the All-Star game. He had done all that stuff. He was the ideal coach to have on staff to help us with the mentality of winning a state championship. And I had won it, he had won it, and Tony Velastro and Danny Love were on staff with me when we won it. So the belief was we can win the state championship in Waxahachie, Texas. We were primed and ready.
Indian Consolidated has Rudy Majed and Jason Watson back to receive the deep kick. And this game is just about to be underway.
The kick to the right side, taking it to 10, to 15, to 20, and all the way up to...
Yeah, the first play of the game, Rudy Majed, their star running back, got hurt on the opening kickoff.
He got politely knocked out of the game pretty quick.
Obviously, we knew they still had the quarterback, star quarterback, and that we had to focus on, so we knew the game wasn't over.
And in 5 plays, we were down 7-0. I'd never seen anybody throw the ball around the field like they did. I mean, it was just, and then we came back and scored, and then they scored, and then we scored, and it was back and forth. The big telltale, I think, was at the end of the game. In the last quarter, it was like 9 minutes to go in the game, and we had driven the length of the field to score, and Samson Gittinet missed the extra point.
More. Again sends a man in motion. It's Pointer. With the snap, goes left on the option, looks to turn upfield. Lamont dives into the end zone, touchdown. 20-17, Waxahachie. Lamont Moore with his 2nd touchdown. There's the snap. The point is up and no good. Samson Gittinet hits the upright and misses it.
And so it was 20-17 instead of 21-17, which plays a big part in the outcome of the game because we're up by 3, and then we kick off, and Jeff Watson, their quarterback, ran it back for a touchdown.
It's Watson to the 20. Watson breaks outside to the 30. Watson's in the open, and he may be gone. To the 40, to the 30. Watson runs the kickoff back, 94 yards for the touchdown. The junior quarterback takes the deep kick runs it back, and Consolidated regains the lead, 23-20.
It took the win out of us a little bit. The funny thing about the kickoff return is we haven't given up a kickoff return all year. I mean, I don't think a guy got past a 30.
And they go kick the extra point, and it's 24-20.
It's up, and it is good. And that hurts.
There's 8 minutes left in the game. We've got time to drive the football. We're not going to throw it anyway. Let's run it down their throat and win the football game. And Lamont Moore ran about 10 yards out on the field. And he turned around, and he looked right at me, and he said, "We will win."
We just got the troops back together and was like, hey, we got to go back and score.
And he orchestrated a great drive, 82 yards. Had a block in the back on the first play after gaining about 15 on the 18 veer, and LeJon Jefferson blocked the guy in the back. They said the man turned his back on us. Obviously, we didn't cheat, and so anyway, they gave us a 10-yard penalty. We started over at the 18-yard line and ran the same play over and over and over and over. We went down and we scored, and when we scored, we're ahead 26-24. That's a 2-point advantage. Okay, you kick. If we miss it this time, we're subject to getting beat by a field goal.
I think they're going to go for it. You're exactly right. Waxahachie is lined up to go for the 2-point conversion. I really thought they'd kick it. Here we go. Lamont, option right. Keith turns upfield into the end zone. 2-point conversion. Now they have to score.
I took around the right side and got the 2-point conversion,
which gave us a 28-24 lead. Now field goal can't beat us. The next series, we kick off to them. First play, they throw a 5-yard stop. They catch the ball, then they're incomplete, and they have to punt the ball.
And we got the ball back. We was like, okay, we still got a little time left. We're going to have to get a first down.
First play from scrimmage, Lamont runs, we ran the trap play.
Lamont, option left, fumbles the football and gets it back. Holy mackerel.
And he spun out, and the guard hit his hand as he was turning to hand off and knocked the ball out of his hand, and it fell behind the line of scrimmage, and Lamont collapsed on top of the ball, which made it now 2nd down and 12. And so we turned around, we went back to 18, and we ran it again, and we made 5-6 yards. And so now we have 3rd down and 5 or 6, and so we run it again, and it's 4th down and 2 at the 48-yard line on our end of the field. And I said I want to go for it, because we'd just gone for the 2-point conversion, same distance, same people, same players, and I said, let's go for it.
Well, first of all, he called the punt team, because it was 4th down. He's like, we're punting it. And then at the last second, he decided to call a timeout.
And Tony Velastro always wanted to go for it, never wanted to punt. He's in the press box on the headphones going, "Punt, coach, just punt, just punt. Whatever you do, coach, just punt. Don't go for it, just punt, just punt. We're at midfield, just punt." So I called punt, and I sent in the punt team. And I look up, and we don't have a personal protector. The personal protector is Corey Porter, and he's standing with his helmet cocked back on his head, drinking water on top of the bench. And I look over at him, and he goes, I said, "Go," and he grabs his helmet, takes off running out on the field.
And now the Indians take a timeout. What? Who called the timeout? They say the Indians did if they did that.
And I said, "Give me the offense." And Tony's going, "Just punt, coach, just punt." I looked in Joe Garber's eyes, and I said, "Can you give me 2 yards?"
They're going to go for it. The Indians have changed their mind, and they are going to go for this on 4th and 2.
She said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Run 18 veer, wing right walk, 18 veer."
It was the moment of the game. I mean, it was a gutsy call because it was 4th and a long 2.
I kind of scanned the defense a little bit and saw they lined up different than they had the whole game. They had a huge gap on the right side where we were running the ball.
It's like that whole stadium took a big breath when they snapped that ball because I still don't think till we saw it that we believed they would try to go for it.
And so I was like, hey, I'm not handing this off. I'm not risking getting a fumble. So I was like, I'm going to get this snap, and I'm going right between those tackles.
Lamont Moore snaps it. He keeps it, turns upfield, has the first down. Holy mackerel. You talking about a riverboat gambling. To the 45. He just took the snap and headed right upfield. My heart is stopped, and I know my partner's head. Oh, my goodness. Option left, handoff. Overton breaks into the open. Sammy Overton is down to the 32. He has another first down. Terry Lamont hands off. No, he keeps. Turns upfield. Almost
When I saw this clock hit 0, we finally did what we had wanted to do. There again, I was sad at the same time, because that was the last time I was going to play with that group of my brothers that I'd bled, sweated, cried, hurt, all those other things. That was the last time I was going to be able to experience that with those guys. But that was the first time that Waxahachie had ever gotten to experience that as well. So we were able to bring something back to Waxahachie and back to this high school that nobody else ever had. And it's a bond that we have for life.
It's just pretty cool to say, hey, you won a state championship in the Houston Astrodome, so.
You do what you have to do. It's called discipline. And that's what won the '92 state championship.
And the Waxahachie Indians are going to be the 1992 4A champions in their first year ever in a title game.
There he comes, foaming at the mouth and everything. Coach Brooks, and yelling. It didn't matter about what, but he was yelling. You remember that? He had that phone. He'd never wipe it away.
We rode buses. We didn't spend the night there. I didn't believe in taking 16, 18-year-old boys to a motel room the night before a big game and letting them stay up all night playing grab butt.
Guess what station he at? Squad. And he set the weight, not you.
Yeah.
Because you usually put your weight on. He's like, okay, I'm going to do it.
No.
He comes over, okay.
Nah, that ain't enough.
Go, man.
And you're like cinching up the belt. Oh God, this one's gonna hurt.
You're like dead for the rest of us.
Yeah, you get over to the next station, you're like, man, old legs burning.
So I get it. I'm like thinking, okay, yeah, we've been in the quarterfinals 2 years in a row. Like, I'm like excited. Like, I know we're gonna be top 5, top 10, something. I look it up and we're 19 out of 20. I was like, 19 out of 20? Are you kidding me? Waxahachie Indians, 19?
And Edward thought he broke his arm during the game and went to the hospital and and it was so humid in the Astrodome. We were all sweating like crazy, and Edward had been in the hospital getting x-rays in a 68-degree temperature at the hospital, and he came back all refreshed in the fourth quarter and said, "Coach, I'm ready to go. I didn't break my arm."
That, he was also the one that would yell at you while you're pulling the tire up the concrete hill. Pulling that dang tire, and if it bounced, start over, get down there.